Welcome back, everybody, to the newest episode of the New York Only podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harms, broker and founder of the Time Away Realty Group. And today I am joined by Tommy Angelucci, real estate specialist in the luxury real estate market. How are you today, Tommy?
Matt, thank you for having me. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am fantastic. As I was saying the other day, we didn't record for a few weeks because of the holidays, but we are back in full swing. And you have the honor of being one of the only actual licensed agents to appear on this podcast. I'm trying to focus on all of the other areas that support real estate, but you are in such a niche specialty that I think the value you could bring to people on what you do is just second to none.
Man, I have no words after those words. Thank you. I'm very humbled by it. First of all, I am very honored to be here again, sharing with you, sharing with the audience what it's all about, real estate, especially on the rental market. My humble opinion, I will give you my take, as my personal take, and then the objective one, which is what's happening, which is no denying on that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're in an interesting time, so I'd love to get your general overview, and then we'll drill down on it because, with what we've gone through COVID and rentals, evictions, and all that kind of good stuff. I know there's a lot of still uncertainty when people hear renting. I still know landlords who are sitting on vacant property because they're afraid to rent.
Yeah, I mean, listen, let's start with this story. I recently leased up a new development. It's located in Long Island City. When I said let it be known that it's a team, right? I'm not by myself. I work with a great individuals. They are equal or even more talented than I am. I'm honored to be part of that team as well. So we did collectively under a huge development company in New York City. We did this building that is roughly 958 apartments, 71 story, is one of the tallest building in Long Island City. And we waited for the right moment to open this building and capitalize as much as we could on the market. We opened in February 2022. We finished the lease up at close to 90% as today. You can say we are 90%. 2020, scratch that. December, last month.
Oh, wow. So in 10 months, you guys almost fully leased out a 900 unit building.
It's insane because we led the market. We didn't let the market dictate what we was going to do as far as prices, incentives. As you probably know, or whoever is listening to this in New York City market, developers and landlords tend to offer free month to attract tenants. That's the bread and butter in New York City. Who is offering 3 months and who is giving more to the tenant? And I guess that brings back what you originally asked, COVID deals and what's going on in the market. And so we opened just a little bit, I would say, between COVID not being a headline on the news because they were kind of died down, quote unquote, and we were entering to the Omicron, I think it's called, right? Omicron kind of a thing, kind of a borderline that. And
I've lost track of variants, so I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah. We let the market. We let the landlords, what they were doing, giving free month, was essentially, fast forward to that part, they are suffering and bleeding because of that, but that's here, not there. I'm proud of the team that I'm part of. Once again, we leased up that building in 10 months. We capitalized in every single apartment. It was pricely fair. It wasn't like we wasn't, overdoing it or abusing the market. We were doing it in a way where the market is benefiting it and also the company as well. But then again, I think that the whole takeaway of this story is that we was brave by not following what the news or landlord were doing. Rather, we reinvent the wheel, so to speak, and we were doing what we thought it was right, and it worked.
So I'm curious on that because, you know, giving out a free month's rent, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but when it comes to finding the tenants, placing the tenants, one of the big things in New York City is versus other markets. This is one of the, maybe not few, but I know like Connecticut, you can't, Pennsylvania, you can't. In New York City, it's still acceptable after the laws were overturned where you can still charge the tenant the broker fee to move in. Right. So were you guys giving the free month rent but charging a broker fee, or were you compensated by the building and they were getting a free month's rent?
That's actually great questions, because we work for the developer, we work for the owner, we represent the ownership. We are ownership, and in other words, we do not collect brokerage fee. However, and the other aspect, when brokers came in with the clients, they were collecting their own fee. We wasn't paying brokerage fee.
So they were collecting a fee from their client, but their client was getting the free month's rent.
We didn't offer anything.
Oh.
And that's the part that I think that, again, this is why I'm saying I'm so humble and grateful to be part of this, because no one, listen, I've been doing real estate for 9 years now, give it a take. I've been in leasing for the last 6.5 years of my life. And this is my my number 5 new development. And this is the one of a kind. We never offer incentive. We never offer free month, which is unheard of. For 685 market rate apartment, we did not offer anything. Towards the end, because we wanted to wrap up, then we were just flirting with the idea and giving OPs, and which is, you know, the paying the broker's fee, and we wasn't giving free month. We were negotiating a little bit on the rent, and that was it. But very unprecedented.
You know, so that's actually enlightening, because I know for me, I deal mostly on the sales and purchase side. And one of the pieces of advice we always give to clients is you are always better off to work with an agent versus not, and try to represent your own interests.
Correct.
In this type of situation, it seems like people would have absolutely done better going directly to you, the developers.
I mean, yes, but I don't want to, because I'm in real estate and I'm a great advocate for people to contact your local real estate agent. You know, I always like to use the analogy of, you know, people go to internet, they research a little bit about medicine, and they think they are doctoring and they self-medicine themselves, and all of a sudden they make the problem even worse. I think real estate agents are there for a purpose. I mean, you know, you have a few that doesn't do their research and their job correctly, and for those that don't do that, they bring a bad reputation for those who do the work. Right.
That is such a great point. And I think that's really the differentiator. If you're working with an agent who's literally doing nothing other than setting an appointment and opening a door, you could have called the developer directly. But if you're working with a knowledgeable agent who's going to let you know the ins and outs of the neighborhood, how far things are. I mean, you know, certain things legally we can't speak about, like school districts, but an agent who's really going to represent your best interest, help you with that lease, negotiate the best price or deal, maybe try to fight to get some of the fee paid by the developer, then you are in a better position to be represented than not.
I cannot agree with that statement even more, because then again, I'm in the side where I love the broker community. I think the broker community do an exceptional job helping the community move along. New York City is a very unique market when it comes about real rental, especially the luxury rental. You can walk into any building and there is a leasing office, and yes, you can potentially, you know, go better off without using them. But if you don't know better, using a broker will not harm you. You know, some of these brokers are so professional and they know where to look, where the building that is offering what we call it OP, owners pay the fee. And all you have to do is relax, tell them what you want, and they will tailor that. So my job, bringing it back to our team, what we do is, one of the things that I think we excel as a team through the post-pandemic, so to speak, is that our customer service is incredible, right? And anybody, and this is what I tell everybody when I bump into salespeople, brokers, it's always the stigma of you're not doing real estate because you're not selling. And I'm like, well, I do in real estate at the highest level. Okay. In my opinion. But it requires a dedication. It requires to you to listen more than you talk. And it's all about customer service, and when I get those folks coming through the door, I know one thing I know, they don't want to keep looking for the next property. It's a headache and it's a hustle, and they want to be done over with. So I'm already winning. If they're in my property, I have a point. And if they are looking seriously, I can close them.
And you made another, or you alluded to another great point, which is walking into a rental office on your own as a consumer. The internet is great, but you also said it before, like you do a little research, you think you're a doctor. You don't have, as an unlicensed consumer, access to the data that a licensed broker does. So you don't necessarily know. Your friend may have said, oh, rents in that building should go for this. But if you don't have access to the data to know what the last 10 apartments similar to the one you're looking to rent have rented for, you don't know if you're getting a good deal or not.
Correct. And listen, I cannot speak for many other developers or for other leasing companies. I can only speak from the company and my experience in the company that I am today. One of the things that drive us is the transparency, and we are fully transparent. We don't go around the bushes. We're not doing anything. What was that word? A quick turnaround. We don't look for that. Everything. And one of the things, our core values is long-term perspective, right? And for me, that's affected my life tremendously. I will not work for a company that doesn't match my values. And
I think the word you were looking for is churn. As a broker, I mean, the biggest compliment we can get, and what most of us build our business on, is referrals, right? But for me, things happen, but I think it's a red flag that someone's not doing their job if you've helped the same client find 3 rentals in 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're legitimately moving all over the city, but if they've rented a place, they're not happy and they're looking again, something got missed somewhere.
You always get those the hoppers, right? The building hoppers. They are driven strategically by incentive. Okay. It's a rush. I tell you, Matt, it's a rush. People love to get the deal. And I see that a lot without getting too crazy on details, because then again, I have to be careful what I disclose or what I do not disclose. I see that a lot on business folks that do business, like or whether they're in the stock market. They love, they are driven by
that rush.
They come to the office and they already negotiating with me. You don't know how much pleasure I have when people say, "What are you offering?" And I'm like, "Nice apartment."
We've got a doorman, we've got a fitness center, we've got a pool, and you got a great 2,000 square foot apartment. What else you want?
It was insane. My colleagues and I, we always, when we had our team meetings, we were like, we come with these stories and the things that are happening at the moment. And then again, I want to bring it back to the salesmanship, because I want people to take away from this conversation is like, you can let the market dictate your business, or you can lead the market with your strategy and core values. And if you do believe what you have it's a good product, then pursue it. Be patient. Once again, long-term perspective. We had patience. We had the time behind, like we wasn't rushed to meet any financial quota as far as the ownership goes, which that helps a lot. They were really patient. Whenever this happened. And I think because they were that way, the universe and God conspire and make this happen, make us look great, because we did it in 10 months, if that makes any sense, But nothing beats transparency. Nothing beats, and I know it sounds cliche, nothing beats hard work. in discipline.
Well, and you kind of just, what you just said tied back to something you said earlier about teamwork, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. And it's not just between you and your cooperating agents. You have to have the developer or the owner, the landlord, whoever is backing you or offering the units.
Yeah.
You have to have a synergy and an understanding of, we're here to help you get the best quality tenants and fill this as quick as possible. Not fill this as quick as possible at the expense of getting you the best quality tenants.
Oh my God, this is a whole different conversation, because then again, like, there's so many layers to leasing. Just because, especially New York City, guys, like, if whoever's watching this, if you don't live in New York City and the 5 boroughs, here it's, I don't want to say complicated, but we are more
complicated. I just finished, not to interrupt you, I just finished a continuing ed for my broker license on fair housing. And the way things change in the city, I'm like, I am actually taking notes. Like, normally I just don't even pay attention, but it's complex.
Yeah. Well, right now mine is up to renewal next month, so I will be there shortly again. But I see in my end, I practice like the fair housing. It's in my bones, because I had to be careful. I had to really be careful what I said and what do I disclose during the presentation, right? But why we are strict is because scammers are getting great at scamming, okay? We have people, editing the bank statements, and, and I mentioned the company that we use, but now we have a company that can detect when the pay stub or the bank statement is edited. And that is helping us to avoid headache of evictions and rent payment not being made. And so
that right there puts, I'm going to hazard to say, in the top 5, if not top 1% of any real estate agent in the city doing leasing. Normally it's landlord's looking for 750 credit score, so show me a screenshot. All right, landlord's looking for this, show me your most recent pay stub. And then they're going to tell the landlord, I got you a great tenant.
We did honestly, once again, the team that I work with, it's so amazing, and I want to focus also on that, because people think that success is have to be an individual, like an individual. I mean, that is ludicrous to think that it's only about you, and you're going to make this happen, and you're going to be this successful individual. It's always a group of people. It's always a team. It's always a multitude of people working with you along, right? And to make, like you said earlier, the dream work, teamwork make the dream work, right? And that starts at home, that start with your team, that start everything. And so we did an amazing job screening. We did a lot of deals, but we also had a lot of cancellations because of that. This tenant does not meet the standards. And as an agent, you want to make that deal happen, okay? And then that's what the manager comes in and we're like, I know you want to make the deal, but this is not the way that we do it. And that, brings that perfect balance between the rush of the deal, because we agents, we salespeople, we want to get this done. And then someone who is disconnected from the sales part, I guess, comes and saying, no, this deal is no good. And so many components, many layers to it.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting perspective, because one of the things I just wrote down here is, sometimes it feels like, especially in New York City, that it's easier to help someone buy a home and navigate the bank process, getting a mortgage, than it is to figure out getting them approved for a lease. Like, it's almost harder to rent an apartment than it is buy a home.
I have people telling me that many times, and different properties. I can say we simplify the paperwork, and I can tell you what we collect as of right now. This is what you gotta, as whoever's watching this as a customer or as a future tenant in New York City, it can vary between landlord to landlord. It will vary like 100%, especially if you do rent from a small owner, like if it's a multi-family building with 5 apartments, it will change completely. For example, I rented in a townhouse, right? My landlord is very simple. So my pay stub, my bank statement, he gave me the keys. Old school, so that's different. I also live in the Bronx, so it's a different borough versus Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens. But then again, answering the question, we only require state ID or visa or passport, either of those three. Uh, 2 pay stubs, consecutive pay stubs, and 2 bank statements. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, definitely that just shines a light on the disparity, because I've had some owners, like you mentioned, they want to see your tax returns, they want to see your pay stubs, your W-2s, they want your full credit report, they want a criminal background check, they want 2 forms of state, a federal ID, a state ID,
Yeah.
They want to meet the tenants, they want to interview the tenants, and it's like, dude, it's a $1,200 a month rental.
And by the way, that right there, meeting the tenant before, like,
starts to violate fair housing.
Yeah, that's like, it's just such a thin line between discrimination and what you're doing good for you. Listen, when I was renting apartment, which you're gonna die with this. I was renting apartment, mind you, I'm in real estate. I do this for a living, so I know the inside out of renting. But when I rent an apartment with my wife, I do not disclose anything. I'm a normal dude looking for an apartment, and you will not believe the question that my wife and I got prior to visit the property. What's your credit score? What's your income? What do you guys do for a living? What do you guys look like? And I'm like, really? Seriously? But anyways, you do, then again, it goes back to the earlier when we were talking about, some people do the bad job and bring a sour taste to those who inquire for an agent for the first time. And now they're like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I would just rather go by myself.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I'm actually not surprised, because I've had a few landlords, I stopped working with them because they were being completely unreasonable. There was an issue with every applicant I brought them. You could have a 750 credit score, 6-figure income for a $1,400 apartment. And then they would come, well, how many people are going to be living here? How many kids? Are they married? I'm like, that's none of your business. Their income and credit is fine. You can put in the lease. No one other than named occupants can live here. There's things you can do legally, but I'm not going to jeopardize my license because you want to rent to a very specific person.
Yeah. When I started in real estate, I started actually, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I started in the Bronx. I did a little bit of everything, trying to figure it out, trying to provide a living for my wife at the time, which we didn't have no kid, thankfully, at that time. It was like, when you enter in real estate, you got all these expectations, you have all these dreams and goals, to find out that is a very difficult business to get into if you don't have no capital. Let's be honest. You do need capital to invest in advertising, marketing, and sustain your living while you make deals. Because guess what? You get in real estate and people think, I get my license, let's sell houses. It doesn't work that way. And you can correct me, right? You have to have knowledge, education. You need to know what you're doing. It's like, yeah, anybody can do real estate, but not everybody can do it at a successful level.
So I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm pretty sure I'm close on this. It's something like 10% of the realtors in New York City make 90% of the deals. Because if you think about it, I don't remember the number at last check, but we've got tens of thousands of licensed agents just in New York City. Mm-hmm. Right. And the problem with that is what you just said. The barrier for entry into this market is so low. You take a 75-hour course, go sit for 100-question multiple choice Scantron, which my 9-year-old could pass. Yeah. And you have a license, and now you're out there thinking, great, I'm going to go do real estate. That course doesn't teach you anything that you actually need to know to go out there and assist your customers in the real world. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. They get out there and they just think, I'm licensed now. People are going to just start doing business with me, when you don't know the first thing about it.
That's so funny, because that was exactly how I viewed it at that time. 2014, I get my license. Right now, I'm the big man. I got my license. The ink on my license is not dry, Matt. And I tell you, I used to live in a different area, like North Bronx. My first office was Keller Williams, which dearly love. They taught me so much of real estate. And Keller Williams is a great company. I'm not advertising them by any means, but seriously, they were really good. They are really great.
Oh no, I've heard their training is second to none.
It's insane. Like if you fail in Keller Williams, it's because one, you're not really consistent, and you don't want to do it, the work, right? But anyways, I get my license on the mailbox. I cannot make this up. I have my wife as a witness. Open the mailbox. I get my license. My neighbor is picking her mail, and I said, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I can help you with anything you want." I cannot make that up. Can you believe? Within 2 months of saying that introduction, she bought a fix-it-upper with me. We fixed it and we sold it. Well, and she changed the plans at the end, but I end up renting the house, right? So I participated on the purchase, and then I find tenants to it. My first deal, it closes, it was September 2014, I cannot forget, and the deal closed December-ish. And I'm making my first $4,000. Between September and December, I didn't have no income. So when I got those $4,000, you bet.
There are two nuggets in what you just said that I want to call out before we wrap up. Number one is that story is not the norm, right? That's like oh my God, first person I told, they did business with me. Yeah. It's not happened to 99.9% of agents. However, the behavior and the thought process for you to tell everyone, like, that excitement, right? I'm a real estate agent. Who do you know? I can help you do this. That's really the only way. Yes, you can pay for marketing, you can pay for advertising, but if you're not telling everyone you come in contact with what you do, you're going to struggle.
Oh my God.
You didn't mention it to that woman and you didn't get that $4,000. Let's say you didn't get another client for 6 months. How long might you have stayed in real estate?
You know, great things that I want to point out, right? Is go back to the teamwork, right? I always approach things, and recently I learned this term, but I always did without knowing the term. It's approaching everything with a beginner's mentality, right? It's like the reason why older people do not advance in life sometimes is because they think they know it all, right? And for me, I'm always want to make sure that I keep myself humble, redress myself with humility, because I want to learn. I want to learn as much as I can. I don't know everything, and I want to learn everything. And whatever I know, I keep it in the back pocket in case I need it. But every time I meet somebody, I want to learn as much as I can from you. And so Mike Brown, which is the principal broker at the Keller Williams, was a great mentor. My closest friend, Jose Rodriguez, which was mentoring me, broker 101 through the business. And he said, like you said, you can spend as much as you want in real estate on advertising, marketing. But if you're not becoming in contact with people, real talk, you're not going to do this. It's like the gospel. Like if you're Christian, you got to make sure that people know that. People are not going to, they're not going to know if you don't talk about it. And so it's like, I was like that newborn in Christ. I was telling everybody about real estate, and that's how it works.
I think everyone, no matter how long you've been in real estate, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, if you're not getting the results you want, take it back to basics. How many people have you told this week that you do real estate?
And let me tell you, Matt, you know this, that real estate can beat you, it can be tired. Okay. You want to pay your bills. You feel hypocrite. You're selling houses that you cannot afford. It happens.
No, you spend. Everyone thinks, oh, real estate agent makes so much money. You open a door, you get a 5-figure paycheck. They don't see the countless hours of driving around all around the city, showing people things they don't like or they don't get approved for. For every deal that closes, there's 5 that don't.
I think social media and the brokers, influential brokers, I don't know if that's a word, but
you mean all those ones out on Instagram selling their courses and they're make $1 million like me, just do this.
Yeah. They just create a false expectation and false illusion about real estate in general. Like you have $1 million listing, right? I fall into the trap, right? Oh, if I wear a nice suit and a nice tie, I'm it, right? I'm doing it. And then, but what's the work? Like, what do you have to show that you can do the work? You can look apart, and that's one part of the deal. It's fine. It's fine. I think the first appearance counts everything. Like the friends, you cannot make an impression twice. The first impression counts, but knowledgeable. Do you have knowledge? Do you understand and comprehend the marketplace? Can you talk numbers? Can you sit down with a customer and talk about the mortgage rates and make them understand that what the news are saying, it's not quite there, because the news it's sensational. They like to create sensational news, right? And so it goes on and on and on. And for me, it's like, yes, I want to look nice, I want to look representable, but more importantly, I want to be knowledgeable. And if I'm not knowledgeable, I want to learn and teach me, show me. And so, yeah, back to what we were saying, we have a lot of agents doing the work, but then they're not learning and they don't want to learn.
Yeah, I swear we're going to wrap up on this, but it used to make me laugh when I started, or before I was actually a licensed agent in my own investing business. When I'd work with an agent, they'd show up in their nice Mercedes, they'd show up in their 3-piece suit, polished shoes.
Yeah.
What's the listing price on this again? They're like, hold on, let me check. Seriously, man? You don't even know what the price of the house you're showing me is?
It's insane. It's
right.
insane.
So you got the car, you got the suit. And I'm a little different than you. Ever since I left my corporate job, I'm a laid back kind of, before I meet someone, you already know I know what I'm doing. Like, we've already taken care of that part. And I'm going to show up in my hoodie. And you're not going to care, because I know more than that guy who shows up in his Mercedes and is looking at his phone, like stumbling over himself.
Yeah.
So the key, no matter how you live your life, no matter how you run your business, is be a student, learn, be willing to grow. Things change too. What you knew yesterday may not apply tomorrow, especially in a place like New York.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with that statement. Like I said, yeah, first impression counts. And to your point, but people love knowledge, and especially landlords, or a customer. When I meet with a customer, they can care less if I'm wearing a nice suit or not. I do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be comfortable representing your brand, your values. I've never been one. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm going to show a doctor's home in Greenwich, I'm probably going to suck it up and do it. But for the most part, people like when you're real. Like, they know that's you, right? I've seen you on social media. I've seen you. You're always dressed up. When people see me in a suit, they look at me like, who's getting married or who died?
No. Listen, people can sense that when you're true to yourself, when you're true to your craft, people can sense that, and they don't care what you're wearing. Listen, I'm a sneakerhead. Everybody knows me as a sneakerhead. Okay, when I'm not in a suit, I'm in sneaker, jeans, plain simple. I'm a chill dude, and people can see I have this in sneakers and t-shirt. It doesn't matter. It's all about the customer service. How relatable can you be to my needs? Because the thing is, I promise we can wrap up at this point.
Yeah.
The things we're selling, right? The agent and the customer or the client, is that the agent is worried so much about the sell and not the need, right? It's like, the property was set and sell. Let's focus on you, the customer, the client. Meet those expectations. Let me talk to you. Let me sit with you. Let's find out what you're going through. And that's why I think I excel, and our team excel, sitting down and finding those needs.
Tommy, you just hit the last point on the head. When you show up, like when you're unnatural and you're showing up to look something you're not, the customer starts to feel like you're looking at them as a paycheck.
Yes.
And I live by this motto, and you just said it. You cannot sell someone a house, right? You cannot sell someone a car. Yep. Anything like an investment of that size, there is absolutely nothing you or I can do to get someone to buy something they don't love. That house is going to sell itself. The apartment's going to sell itself. The car is going to sell itself. You are there to answer the questions, make sure they have all the information they need to decide if they love it as much as they think they do.
When I meet a new customer, when I need that prospect, the first thing I do is a little bit of humor. If I make them laugh, besides the greeting part, hi, I'm Tommy, what's your name? And getting relatable, I sit, I don't stay sitting. Listen, you got 5 minutes to get as much as you can in the seating area. Once you're out and showing, that's not the time to start asking questions. You start asking questions in the conference room. You get relatable with them. I got kids. You do. Oh yeah, I have a dog. You have a dog. Yeah. So you start mixing, and then you say, listen, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just gonna show you what we have. And if you like it, I will be more than happy to walk you through the steps to make this your new home. And that's it. And from that perspective, from the next step, it is an easy out, as they say.
I love it. I love it. Tommy, this has been great. We're pretty much out of time, but I want to give you a last moment. If anyone's looking to get in touch with you, if they have questions on the luxury market in the city, if they want to work with you on anything leasing related, how do they get in touch with you?
They can use my contact me through Instagram. I use that heavy. Tommy R Angelucci. Yeah.
Fantastic. So for everyone tuning in, you just spent this time on the New York Only podcast with Matt Harms of the Time Away Realty Group and Tommy Angelucci, luxury real estate specialist in the 5 boroughs. Any questions, please reach out to him, follow him on Instagram. I think you would be quite surprised by the things you don't know. And if you take anything away from this podcast, be open to learning them from someone who actually wants to teach it to you. Tommy, thank you again so much. I greatly enjoyed this conversation, and I feel like I walked away learning something. So that's always great.
Matt, I'm humbled by your words again, and thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, my friend.
I'm open to do anything else with you.
Absolutely. Same here. We're going to stay in touch.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
All right, brother. Bye.